I need help. I need that kind of help too, but I need help. Okay, I have a spooky story for you, but it is 100% real and it's 100% my life, and I just want to know what's going on, and it's been going on for years. So if you're ready for this, sit down because I have a story for you. Okay, ready? All right, let's jump in our time machine and let's go back to 2017, 2018. At the time, my husband is traveling for work. He travels for extended periods of time at this point in our life. I have 2 kids at the time, and he's gone, right? He's out of state. He would be gone for sometimes a month at a time, sometimes 2. He'd come home on weekends, now and then, but for the most part, he was gone. Okay, that's important. So one night, I am sleeping, and I get woken up at 2:30 in the morning. I know this because I look at my phone. 2:30 in the morning to our smoke detectors going off, smoke alarms. And so obviously that's pretty jolting to be woken up like that with kids at home, no husband, nothing. We lived in a 2-story house, and it was just the ones outside my bedroom door that were going off. And they went off in, it was maybe a minute. Just enough time for me to wake up, look at my phone, start to get my bearings, figure out, is there really a fire? Is there something going on? And I start to get out of bed and they stop. And I'm like, okay, that was weird. But was it weird? Logically, I'm thinking, okay, my batteries must be going out, right? There's no fire. There's nothing that could have triggered this. Maybe it's my batteries. So, as one does, the very next day, I change the batteries in the smoke detector upstairs. 2 days later, it happens again. So this happens maybe, 4 or 5 times. Only while my husband's gone, never while he's home. Never. And we just, with life, we decide that we're going to move. We're not because of that. Again, just because of life. And we buy a house in March of 2020. We bought a house in a different city, and so we move. So we move into our new house, and we're there for a few months. My husband continues to travel for work, and I am in bed one night, and I get woken up by the smoke alarm going off. I look at my phone, and it's always between 2:30 and 3 o'clock in the morning when this happens. It's in that time frame when it happens again. And again, it goes off just long enough for me to wake up, start to, get out of bed, freak out, thinking that there's a fire or something, and then it just stops. Doesn't happen again that night. It happens several times while my husband is out of town again, never while he's in town. That is important to add because maybe a year, it has to be a year, after we moved in, my husband stopped working for the company that he did where he traveled. So he was home for the remaining, 2-3 years that we were in that house. And it never happened when he was home. It happened again when he wasn't, but never while he was home. All right, so October 2023 rolls around, and we decide to put our house up for sale because we want to move back to the town that we lived in before. It was easier for kids and work and all the things. So anyway, so we put our house up for sale, and we move into a rental house. Okay, so we move into the rental house. We get settled in. I work from home 3 days a week, and I'm sitting at home. My office setup is upstairs in our game room, and I'm sitting at home working one day, and it's maybe around lunchtime, and randomly our smoke alarm goes off upstairs. Just upstairs, not downstairs, just upstairs. And so I'm like, what is happening? This is weird. So I have my husband change the battery again. It's important to know that there's never, before all these things happen, there's never that annoying beep that happens with your smoke alarms or smoke detectors or whatever when your batteries are low. This never happens. So I just want to point that out. But anyway, so this happens this time during the day. I'm working from home. I'm the only person home. And it happened a couple of times while we lived there, but we only lived there for a year and a half. March of 2025, we decided that we were going to buy another house. We bought our house that we live in now, and we moved in April of 2025. Fast forward to June. So we move in April. 2 months later in June, my husband, in the middle of living at the rental house and buying our new house, he took a job at a company that's very similar to the company he worked at where he traveled. So he began traveling again, but very little. He doesn't travel as frequently as he used to, but he does work a lot of nights. So he works a lot of overnights where he's not home. So we move into this house. It's about May, June time, and I'm in bed sleeping, and I get woken up by what? Smoke detectors going off. I look at my phone. Husband's not home. Look at my phone. It's 2:33 in the morning, and it's only happening upstairs where I am. Again, just long enough for me to get my bearings, figure out what is happening. Is there really a fire? Is there something going on? Get out of bed. As soon as I step out of bed, stop. They just stop. Just like they have every other time. Can somebody please tell me what any of this means? Like, comment below, DM me something. I just want to know what it means. I don't feel like it's my houses, because again, it's happened at all of these houses, so I don't think it's really house. I think it's related to me. What is it? What does this mean? Honestly, like, what does it mean? Because I don't think it has anything to do with the houses, because it's happened at every house. It has to be me, right? Is somebody trying to tell me something? If you have any answers, can you please DM me? Can you comment below? Can you say something? Just please tell me what it means. Please help.
Scary Storytime, Appalachian Mountains, while I try to reactivate the store-bought slime. P.S. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Like, I really been searching up how to pronounce that word. Lighting is trash, but ew, like, yeah, it's so gooey. Anyways, this story time takes place in the Appalachian Mountains, and it was sent in by a supporter. Now, like always, disclaimer, I can't tell y'all if this is real or not. It was sent in to me. So Layla and her boyfriend decided to rent a cabin in the Appalachian Mountains, or at least near it. Get your money's worth, and what? Let it drain. She knew little to nothing about the place that she was going because her boyfriend was the one that rented the cabin. Now, where they were going, again, why do people do this? I don't know. They were going in the middle of nowhere with no Wi-Fi, just straight remote. The best way to put it. It was for their anniversary, so she thought it was just like a cute little thing. Now, her boyfriend was like, have you ever heard the creepy stories about the Appalachian Mountains? And she was like, man, that's just, man, that ain't real. It ain't real, you know? Layla wasn't the type of person to believe in ghost stories, anything that had to do with spirits or the supernatural. She didn't believe in it. Now, like always, the first couple of nights were fine. They had rented the cabin for a week, and the first 3 nights, there were no issues. Now, the fourth night, that was where the problems came in at. Okay, sorry. Layla woke up at 2:58 in the morning. She heard 2 knocks. She has no idea where they were coming from, but she heard it. Also, following the second knock, I'm getting goosebumps. She heard whistling. Now, if y'all don't know anything about them scary stories about the mountains, don't ever. When it gets night, you're not supposed to be outside. She tried to wake her boyfriend up. His name is Josh, by the way, but he was knocked out cold. So she went to go see who was knocking this late at night when all of a sudden she got goosebumps all over her body. And it was just like something stopping her from going to go check out whatever she heard. Now, she went back to bed. She was completely freaked out, but she brushed it off, as they always do, but she brushed it off. Now, the next night, she heard the same thing. She gets up, she gets goosebumps all over her body, and she gets this urge to lay back down, so that's what she does. But on the 6th night at this point, she's like, no, I have to get up. I need to check out what it is. Now, she followed where the knocks were coming from, and they were coming from the window. Now, when she looked out of the window, y'all, it was pitch black. It was just straight woods, and she kept hearing whistling. Oh my gosh, I got goosebumps. Can y'all see that? And it was just like something drawing her outside, basically. And then as she went to go close the window, she heard her name from outside, and it was her boyfriend calling her. Oh my God. I'm literally scared right now. I'm not trying to seem like I'm doing too much, but I'm literally by myself right now. So right as she was about to go outside, her boyfriend basically called her back to bed. She went back to bed. She brushes this off, y'all. She brushes this off. I don't know why she would when her boyfriend is in bed, but he's calling her from outside. But she doesn't believe in, supernatural. I'm stuttering, but whatever. The next night, okay, her boyfriend is up this night. He hears the knocks, and he's like, are these the knocks that you've been hearing? And she was like, yeah, but I don't think it's anything. It's probably old pipes or, a cat. I don't know why people who don't believe in ghosts just make up the most craziest things, but yeah, That's what she told him. He was like, girl, no. Do you know where we are? Now, y'all, the knocks are driving her completely crazy. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And she's like, I have to investigate. Like, I can't take this anymore. Now, she gets out of bed. Her boyfriend is like, not all the way asleep. He's like half asleep. So right as she's about to open the window, y'all, she sees a man, like just straight in the distance, a man. And she gets spooked out by this, obviously. And the man is like calling her name in a familiar voice. And it's like drawing her in, and it starts whistling. Now, she about to walk to the front door to go investigate, because she over here in her head, she literally writes and says, I thought that he needed help. Honey, no. Right as she was about to open the door, her boyfriend stops her and goes, so what are you doing? And she's like, there's a man outside. He was calling my name. He was whistling like he needs my help. He was probably whistling to get my attention for help, or our attention for help. And her boyfriend is looking at her like she's crazy. And he's like, that's it. We're going home. And she's like, what's wrong? Like, what's your issue? He was like, no, we're going home. So they wait till the next day, obviously morning. They get in the car, they drive home. They didn't even finish their stay, y'all. She's like, why are you acting like this? Like, you literally made us pack up all our bags in the middle of the night. We're leaving today. We didn't even get to finish our stay. Like, what's going on with you? And he tells her, you've never heard any of the tales of the Appalachian Mountains. Like, you think things are, like, supernatural isn't real, but there's some places that you just don't mess with for real. And she's like, bro, like, I told you, like, none of that stuff is real. And he goes on to tell her, if you were outside, you would no longer be here. And she's talking about what are you talking about? He says that man wasn't a real person. That was a hallucination. Because keep in mind, he was hearing it, but he knew to ignore it because he knew the stories. He kind of knew the area. Why would he bring his girlfriend who doesn't believe in supernatural in a place like this? I have no idea. But this kind of freaks her out a little bit because now that she thinks about it, it was literally driving her mad. Like, it was drawing her to the freaking window, drawing her to the door. And right as she's about to open the door to go outside, it was just like everything was quiet. Like, there was no bugs, there was no nothing, no noise. And so ever since that day, she's believed in supernatural a tiny bit. Again, y'all, I can't tell y'all if these stories are real. They were sent into me. You could probably find these stories on the internet somewhere. I have no idea. Stop trying to clock me for saying, oh, I've heard this story before. It was sent into me, okay? Oh, okay, bye.
About a year ago, there was this trend going around of this woman asking for scary stories, and everybody would stitch that video telling their scary stories. I tried to stitch this video so many times. Every time I tried to stitch the video and tell my scary story, the sound just would not record. So I would be talking, record the whole video, and when I would get to the end to share the video, my sound wasn't there. You couldn't hear me talking. You could watch me, you could see me, like whatever, but you couldn't hear me. I watch a lot of like spooky TikToks, so those kind of things come up on my For You page all the time. And sometimes when people try to make scary TikToks, even if it had nothing to do with that trend, they would say like, oh, I tried to record this so many times and my sound wouldn't work, like you can't hear me talk, whatever. So I thought it was weird that the only time I heard people complaining about that was when they were telling scary stories, and then all of my other TikToks I ever recorded, it was fine. You could hear me talk, but anytime I try to share this scary story, you couldn't hear me talk. So I told my sister about this because the story I was talking about involved her. It happened to her and I when we were younger. And she was like, Carly, like, shut up. Stop telling that story. Like, clearly something doesn't want you to talk about that. Like, stop. But I'm going to try again and tell you guys because it's a scary story. So growing up, my sister and I shared a room. We slept in the same bed. And also my family was very religious. We were Catholic. We had Catholic things around the house. And one night, my sister and I were sleeping in bed. And I slept on the inside, like closest to the wall. She slept on the outside. She had woken up. And what she woke up to was a figure that was dressed looking like the Grim Reaper. So basically like head to toe black, hooded, couldn't like really see a face. She said that it was like floating off the ground, like no feet, and holding that thing that the Grim Reaper holds. Like she said he was holding an axe. That's what it looked like to her at the time. We were little. Now, she said that she ducked her head under the covers and just started saying Hail Marys or prayers or whatever she was saying. She was praying. And she also pushed me to the other side of the bed, so I'd be on the outside, bitch. And moved herself to the inside. And she said, like, she peeked her eyes out of the covers after she, like, prayed a million times to see if it went away. And she said it did. It was going out of the room towards my parents' room. Now, my mom always believes my sister because my mom believes in stuff like this. She grew up actually in a very haunted house. My dad, on the other hand, he was so religious that he was like, those things are not real. He did not believe it. He was always like, would explain things away if we ever heard a noise. He's like, oh, it's this and that. Like, very technical kind of person. Never believed it, right? So nothing more was really said about this figure until one day I saw this figure. I'm 3 years younger than my sister. I don't remember how old we were, but I don't even think she was a preteen when she saw this. Like, she was still a kid. I was very young. And when I saw this figure, I remember sitting in my living room, and we always rearranged our furniture, but at that time, the couch pointed at the TV. The TV was right next to the hallway opening. So sitting on the couch, if I'm watching TV, I can literally look and see down the hallway. And at the very end of the hallway was my parents' room. Now, my parents' room also had a statue of Mary in it, kind of like a place to like kneel to the statue of Mary. It was, I don't know. You could kneel on it and pray. And I could see that. I'm pretty sure I was like playing Nintendo 64 or something. And I looked down the hallway and I see the same exact figure, the black hood, the axe thing, floating into my parents' room, go behind the statue of Mary, which I have chills like thinking about that. Like, that freaked me the fuck out. I was so young, I literally just like ran to my mom, who was cooking in the kitchen. It was just her and I home, and just like held on to her leg and was just like, oh, I was just scared by myself out there, and like didn't tell her what I saw. I also want to note that in that house, as a kid, I don't know if it was the house or just me being super young, but I heard voices all the time. I know that makes me sound crazy, but like, I did. And it wasn't ever like people talking to me or anything. Like, I'm saying like not like conversations. However, I would hear voices calling my name or calling my family's name. I specifically remember we were doing like a road trip to Disney, and my dad was like, go in the like what is it, the VCR tapes or whatever, the tapes, like movies, and we had like a TV that we could put in the car and put the tapes in and watch movies for our road trip, right? So he's like, go pick out some movies for the trip that we could watch while we drive. Everybody else is outside. I go in to pick my movie, and I remember looking through the movies. Nobody else was inside, and I just hear like a voice just like this going like, Carly, Carly, like a taunting voice, and it creeps me out. I would hear that a lot when I would like be like sitting by myself or something. Like I said, I wouldn't just hear my name. I would hear other people's names too, like my mom or my dad or my sister. So that was weird. Now, my dad did make an addition on our house. He literally like completely redid the entire house. And I don't know if it was us getting older or just that the house was redone. But once the house was redone, never saw that thing again. Never heard voices like that again. Now I've had other experiences other places, but like at least for like that house and that story, never happened again. I don't know if it was literally the Grim Reaper. If it was, that's pretty scary. Or if it was just like something else or like a D word, which I won't say in my home, especially because, never mind, not gonna say that. But yeah, spooky, scary story time.
Can we show them the older homestead?
Okay, yeah, let's go. As you know.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Was that you?
Yeah, that's on either side.
It went to both.
Yeah.
So nobody likes to tell any ghost stories, spooky stories, whatever you call it, supernatural stories, and share like real stories like that or things that occurred to them, because nobody wants to feel like everybody thinks you're crazy. But I remember sharing a story one night at work, and everybody from all walks of life started sharing their own stories, and it turns out everybody's got a scary story. So I have two. There's one I don't talk about because it still terrifies me, because I know I would have died. But the first occurrence, I don't mind sharing because it doesn't scare me as bad now. But it was a crazy event, but it's a shared experience. So I have a witness for this one. But if you like this story that I'm about to tell you, and you want to hear the other one, comment below and share your own stories if you have any. There was one night, my sister and I was about 18 or 19. She's 4 years older than me, and we both lived at home in Detroit, Michigan, in this older home. It was like 1 a.m. I was the only one up. Everybody else was upstairs asleep. And I heard my sister calling me really softly, which was already weird because we're a loud family. So it's like, why are you whispering? What is happening? But she was going, Reese. And I'm like, what? She goes, come here. Well, I'm downstairs, I'm watching Friends, and I didn't feel like getting up. I didn't respond to her, but I thought to myself in my head, like, I'll go in once it goes to commercial. Luckily for her, it went to commercial just then. So I was just like, okay. So I go to run up the stairs, like, just being silly, just kind of jogging up the stairs. Our bathroom was at the top of the stairs, and the light was on. And we usually leave the light on so that it could illuminate the hallway and the stairs. Our light was on, and I get to the top of the landing, and I jumped once I got on the landing, and I was like, okay, I'm here. And I looked down the hallway, which is not a long hallway, so the bathroom should have illuminated it, but the hallway was uber dark, like really dark. And I remember thinking, like, why is it so dark down there? But I'm still walking towards her door, and just as I get to the entryway to her bedroom door, which was across from mine, it was like, and her door was open, but just as I get to the entryway, it was like I felt a breeze, like something moved really fast past me. And it startled me because I remember I kind of like stepped back, and then I like put my back against the wall in the hallway, kind of like, what the heck was that? But I couldn't see. So I remember like reaching around behind me into her room and flipping the switch, hoping to see like, what the heck was that? And just as I did that, of course I don't see anything, but I like turn and like peeked in her room so I can be like, what's going on? As soon as I look at her, she's got the covers up to her chin, and she's like staring at the ceiling, shaking. And she's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. She's like, Reese? And I'm like, yeah. And she was like, she said she woke up and her room was pitch black, and she felt real uncomfortable. And she's like, why is it so dark? She started calling me thinking I was in bed across the hall. And she was like scared to get up because it was just a weird feeling. And she said she called me. I said, what? And she was like, come here. Well, she said about like a minute or two after she called me, she heard me say, here I am. And she's like, where are you? I can't see. Turn the light on. And just as she said that, she heard me down the hall go, okay, I'm here. Now, that might not scare you, but I can promise you, anybody in my community usually we don't jive with that. Like, nah, dog. We woke my mother up. Ma, get the oil, start praying. I don't know what just happened, but we both kind of had a weird moment right now, and I don't know what's going on. But yeah, that was my little spooky story. But like I said, I have a second one which was actually terrifying, and I know people are not gonna believe me, especially if you don't believe me on this one. But if you want to hear that one, I will work up the courage and tell that story, but you got to tell me down below. All right.
Everyone I know has been telling me that I should tell this story on TikTok because it's the craziest situation ever. So I'm bored enough today that I'm going to do it. So here's the story of the scariest thing that has ever happened to me, and a lesson on why you need to take precautions when staying in a hotel, especially by yourself. So I'm in Grand Prairie, Texas for a work trip, which is a suburb of Dallas. I get to the hotel. Everything's fine and normal. I get there and I do shower the first night I'm there. I sleep. I've stayed in that hotel so many times before, and then I go to work the next day. I end up getting back at like 11-ish p.m. and I decide to take another shower because I've been outside all day. I get in the shower and I look out the shower curtain, and I'm like, is that a message on the mirror? So I turn off the shower, and the steam has steamed up the mirror, and there's a message that has been put on the mirror, fingerprint smudged in there. And it said, there's a camera behind here with a little circle with explosions. And so I'm freaking out. I get out of the shower and I call one of my bosses and I'm like, hey, what should I do? And she's like, you need to leave. And so I went down to the front desk and I was like, hey girl, this is really crazy. I have a picture of this. This wasn't here last night when I showered. It's here now. The mirror says there's a camera behind here. This poor 18-year-old girl working the front desk is also freaking out because it's late at night. Keep in mind, I got in at 11 p.m. And she's like, we don't really have another room for you to go to. Our hotel is full, but you can check out. And I was like, yeah, I'll check out. And so I check out, and then it gets crazier. So I check out, and keep in mind it's late, and the only hotel that has openings is 30 minutes away. And it's in a really nice area of Texas called Southlake, Texas. So I get in my rental car and I drive to Southlake, Texas, and I check into the hotel and everything's fine and normal. So I go to my room, I sit on my hotel bed, and I'm FaceTiming my boyfriend, and then the landline phone to the hotel rings, the room. And so I was like, oh, I checked in late, maybe they need my credit card information or something. So I pick up the phone. On the other end of the phone is an old man's voice, and he was like, hello, I've seen you in Dallas. I wanted to let you know I thought you were pretty, Grace. So he knew my name. So my heart drops to the bottom of my stomach, and the only thing I can tell my boyfriend on the phone is I need to go, I need to leave here right now, someone is following me, I need to go right now. So I go down to the lobby, and I'm like, I'm gonna call the police. So I call the police show up, and they're like, did he make a threat to you on the phone? And I was like, no. I hung up on him before he could tell me more, but he knew my name and where I was. And so they were like, well, he didn't make a threat, so there's nothing we can do. We can ask the hotel to turn over their phone records, but they don't have to. The hotel front desk man was like, we won't show you the phone records, but we'll tell you them. Her room has received no phone calls tonight. And I'm freaking out, crying. I'm like, obviously that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. And the police were like, there's nothing we can do. They checked all my stuff for trackers. There was no trackers on anything. I ended up, one of my bosses that same one I called, lived in Texas. So I went to stay at her apartment. But literally what? So stay safe out there. Don't be going to hotels unless you absolutely have to.
Do you guys want to hear a scary story? Last night, I cuddled with something that wasn't human. Let me explain. So I was having some questionable activity, really kind of scary and weird happening in my house. I didn't really know how to explain. And then it just kind of stopped. I did some things, I staged my space, and nothing was happening. So I'm like, great, in the clear, right? I feel like with me paranormal experiences, every time I think I'm in the clear, I'm not. And that's when something happens, and I should know better. So I normally go to bed fairly early because I have to wake up at 4:30 during the week for work. So since I normally go to bed at I try to be in bed by 10, but my boyfriend gets home later from work and goes to work not at obviously 4 a.m., like a little bit later in the afternoon the next day. So he normally stays up till 1. So when he eventually gets in bed, I'm used to feeling him normally grab me and cuddle me. Grab me and cuddle me, right? So last night, I'm extra tired these past couple days because I just worked bartending at Barrett Jackson, 13-hour days back to back on my feet without food, without breaks. I am exhausted. So I haven't had a day to fully reset myself to sleep, like a normal human. Because after Barrett Jackson's over, it's straight back to 4 a.m. So anyways, it's about 1:30 in the morning. At the time, I didn't know what time it was. I found this out, obviously, I looked at my phone after everything happened. But I just feel like someone get in the bed. And my boyfriend plays FIFA. That's his downtime thing. When I go to sleep and stuff, he plays FIFA. And he always has it on very low volume with low music playing in the background. And I just feel something sink into the bed, and I can hear his music really lightly playing, right? And when I feel something get into the bed, again, I'm thinking it's my man, I don't feel him grab me, which normally he does when he gets in the bed. He grabs me and gives me a hug, kiss on the forehead. I can feel it even though I'm half asleep, And I'm waiting for him to kind of grab me, and I just get this very odd feeling. The hair on my neck starts standing up, and mind you, again, I am freaking out of it. I'm groggy, and I'm kind of what's going on, Then I get really cold, and something smells weird. Something stinks, and one thing about my man, he smells good all the time, and I was just this is so weird, and that woke me up. I started getting freezing, and I'm pulling the covers even tighter over me, and I'm trying to pull the covers on me. It's they're getting caught by something, something was holding them. And I turned around, and I was as I'm turning around, my eyes are closed still, right? I'm out of it. I'm babe, and I'm pulling the blanket back, and it's not moving. And then I feel so slightly a little tapping on my shoulder. My boyfriend does not tap my shoulder. It was the most bizarre little tap, 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 but it was forceful taps, if that makes any sense. And I was babe, what the what are you doing? And I start getting irritated because, again, I have to be up in 3 hours, and he never gets in the way of my sleep and stuff. He's not one to wake me up when he knows I have to work, you know what I mean? And I went to yank the covers, and the covers yanked back so hard that I flipped over. And when I flip over, I don't see my boyfriend. Nobody's in the bed. I literally thought I was having a dream. I was oh my God, I'm sitting there for a minute. I turn around, I look at my phone, it's 1:30. I thought I was having a bad dream. But the smell, that bad smell, was still lingering in the room, and it was still freezing. And I realized, no, this is not a dream. And so I started screaming for him, and my boyfriend runs in the room all fast. He's what's going on? What are you doing up? Blah, blah, blah. I was what? Were you just in here? Where are you? What are you doing? And he's no, I was in the bathroom. And he'll go in the other bathroom, when I'm sleeping, because he doesn't want to wake me up, because it's, our bathroom is obviously attached to our bedroom. So if he has to go to the bathroom at night, he'll go to the one, our spare bathroom, so the light and all that doesn't wake me up. And he was what is going on? And I realized that this activity is not over. And I start feeling very unsettled because the way I felt a whole ass body, and I guess cuddling is a little dramatic because obviously it was just the taps, but I felt a body sink into the bed. And it reminded me of one of the encounters I had with the girls I used to babysit for. Something very similar happened there. But it was so spooky to me how whatever this is just is pulling the covers and touching me, and I literally have chills again. That's all for now. Whenever I have an update, I will let you guys know. But man, I will say one thing. We're moving in 2 weeks, and I can't wait because I I am so unwell right now over this, and I don't know if it's something that's following me or the home, but all I know is I just want to get out of this apartment and hopefully start fresh. Bye.
You got your snack? Because if you don't, I suggest you go get it right now, because you know what time it is. This story is actually coming from Kenya. So there's this little girl. Let's call her Penny. Now, Penny grew up in a small town in Kenya called Nakuru. I don't know if I said that right, so if I didn't, please correct me in the comments. So growing up in Kenya, the culture is rich, obviously, right? But one thing that Penny always liked to see was when everybody wore their waist beads. She thought waist beads were so beautiful, and for the longest, she's been asking her parents, like, can I wear waist beads? And for some reason, her parents wouldn't let her. Her parents tried to explain to her that waist beads are very cultural, and they are used for different things within different tribes. Her parents also told her that the people in their town don't wear waist beads for no reason. Sometimes those waist beads are specifically made for them, gifted to them by their family. And Penny heard all of that, and yeah, she understood, but she really wants a waist bead. But nobody will let her, right? And so there comes this one day where Penny got sent to the market to buy some things. She went to the market, she bought everything she was supposed to buy, and on her way back, walking, there was a waist bead on the floor. Now, this stopped Penny dead in her tracks, and she's looking at those waist beads, and she's like, I really want some waist beads. But the thing is, the waist beads that were on the floor, they were perfectly fine. It's not like it broke off of somebody. So she's thinking maybe somebody accidentally dropped it or something. And she's like, well, I'm going to take it. This is my luck. Like, I've been wanting it for such a long time. And she took it, put it in her pocket, and went home. When she got home, her day went on like normal, except she hid those waist beads because she knows her parents already told her no. So at nighttime, when everybody's in bed, that's when she's like, I'm going to try those waist beads on. She tries them on, and they're so pretty. She's so happy, but she knows she can't keep it on. So she takes it off, and she hides it again. And then she goes to bed. Penny had no idea what she just did. So she goes to sleep, and she starts to have a nightmare instantly. She has a dream that she found herself tied up to a tree in some neighbor's yard, and she can see her house from afar, and she can see her family, but she's screaming for them and nobody can hear her. She's stuck under that tree for a while, and she's trying her best to get people's attention, but it's not working. The only person that knows that she's there is the only person that put her there, like that tied her up to that tree. And she can see that the person that did this to her is this lady, this older looking lady, but she's also standing very far apart. She's just standing there, staring at her, smiling, but she can't really see a face. And this feels like the longest dream ever. It feels like she is sitting there for like months. She's hysterical. She's young at the time, right? She's a kid. And after what felt like forever, she suddenly wakes up from this terrible, horrible dream. But when she wakes up, she realizes she's not in her room anymore. She's in her yard. It's dark, and there's so many people around her, including her parents, and her parents look like they'd been crying.
What the fuck was that? Bro,
What's going on around you?
I don't know. I'm frozen. I am frozen.
Did the window
Sean.
break?
My 13-year-old sister recently got her phone taken away for downloading WhatsApp. And she doesn't think it's that big of a deal, but it brought me back to when I was a kid and I downloaded Kick Messenger for the first time, and I never had anybody to tell me that it was dangerous and not to do it. I figure now is the perfect time to tell this story, just to kind of like reiterate how dangerous these apps can really be, especially for naive young 13-year-old girls. So when I was 14 years old, I had a Kick Messenger boyfriend. I still remember his username and everything. It was the Kid Grim, and his name was Tony. I know that his name was Tony because he added me years later after this incident as if nothing ever happened on Facebook. And his name was Tony the Kid Grim. So I don't actually know his last name. But yeah, he was 28 years old. He told me that he was in a band, and I thought that he was automatically the coolest guy ever. So yeah, we talked every day on the Messenger app, and we exchanged photos. I don't know why it's being so glitchy like that, I'm sorry. But we exchanged photos often. Very, very often. And eventually we coordinated to meet up. He literally sent me coordinates. I'm not joking. Like, a coordinate to go find the place, like fucking Rando Nautica. He said to follow the trail that was near my house until I got to this crooked tree that we had both known about. It was like this tree that looked like a chair that was right next to this big rock that was near the river. One night when my parents were completely dead cold asleep, I decided to climb out my window with my flashlight in hand. So I'm like following these coordinates. This was before I even had a phone anyways. I had an iPod Touch, like one of those first generation iPod Touches. I didn't feel scared at the time because, like I said, they were like the woods near my house and I had explored them many times before this and I knew where I was going. Like I knew the tree in the area. So I get to the spot and he's already there waiting for me. So I shine my flashlight at him. I'm like, yep, okay, it's him. So I make my way over to him. He's like, oh, hey, baby. It gives me like hugs and kisses and whatever. And 14-year-old me is eating that shit up like a fucking gourmet meal, homie. So then we just sit on the rock and we start talking like normal talk, whatever. And then all of a sudden he starts kissing me again. And it just like gets heavier and heavier and heavier of a kiss. And I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck? But I just go with it. I'm a Pisces. I ride the fucking wave, okay? So then at that point, his hands start wandering, if you know what I mean. And then we ended up doing that on the rock by the river. And I mean, that like wasn't my first experience with that. So it wasn't like a traumatic event that will like, it didn't feel like it was R word for me, you know what I mean? Because I had already like had experiences before. Then after that, he suggested we take a walk down by the river and I agreed and we were walking down by the river, talking. And we were starting to get to like a spot in the woods where I had never been before because we were off the trail. We were just following the river. I was not familiar with that area. So then we ended up getting to like this like little, it was kind of like a how do you explain it? So there was like a fucking like rock wall basically and like a deep spot in the river, okay, that wasn't like a flowing spot anymore. Somebody had built like a dam or something like that and there was a rope swing, right? So he decides to be like a show off or whatever and does the rope swing and everything was fine. It looked so super fucking fun. I can't speak right now. He looked super fucking fun. And so next he was like, why don't you try it? And I was like, yeah, I want to try it. I'm a fucking bad bitch. You're 14. Don't ever say that again. So then I fucking try and I swing on it and the rope snaps and I end up in the water. And I forgot to mention that like the dam was like built, like man built, like somebody went down there and was playing in the river and built it themselves. It wasn't like one of those like concrete walls. It was like a rock made dam and there was water, like moving water on the other side, really, really fast moving water on the other side of this dam. So I end up getting caught in the tide of the water and I'm going down the fucking river, banging against all of these rocks, scraping my legs, my arms, I hit my head on a rock. I don't remember anything after I hit my head on the rock. So the next thing I know, I'm fucking waking up, I'm looking around, it's dark, and I notice that I'm on the dirt, I'm no longer in the water. So then, oh my God, I'll never fucking forget this noise. Like, I'm like delirious at this point. I'm like looking around, like in a fucking like, my vision is blurry, dude. And I start to hear the distinct sound of a shovel, like scraping into gravel, you know what I mean? So I turn my head and there's Tony with a shovel, shoveling a hole a few feet away from me. No, it's hard to believe. I know. This whole story is going to seem harder to believe too because I never told anyone. I was 14 and I thought that I was going to be in trouble, but whatever. Okay, whatever. Moving on. So I see him digging this hole next to me and I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know what to do. So then I see him turn towards me. He puts the shovel down and starts walking towards me. He didn't notice that I had my eyes open at that time. So I shut my eyes because he was walking towards me and I feel him grab my ankles and start to drag me. And now at that point is when I was like, okay, this is a serious situation. You need to kick it into fucking gear. So I kick it into gear and I kick him into his lower abdomen. I'm pretty sure I hit him in his junk, but I don't know. But anyways, that caused him to fall down to the ground and that gave me leeway to get up and run. So I ran through the woods as fast as I could. Like I said, I didn't really know whereabouts in the woods I was at this point because I didn't know we were off the trail. So I just ended up following the river like downwards, which usually would bring me back to like the trail or sort of where I know. At least I thought that was going to work anyways. And it did. Thankfully it did. And I did end up making it home safely. And I locked on my, I jumped back through my window and whatever. But yeah, I'm really lucky that nothing else happened after that because he did know where I lived and whatever. I told him all that information. I don't really know if he was out to murder me or if he just like thought that he was gonna get in trouble for being with an underage girl because he thought that I died in the waterfall or something like that. Like he thought that I was dead after the fall in the water. So he like tried to bury me. I don't really know. But anyways, so this is a nice story for my little sister to listen to because It's a very good teachable moment for you, my dear. We're not doing these things to punish you, and we're not giving you these lectures to be mean to you. We are giving you these lectures from experience, and we just want you to be safe. Because I was never taught internet safety, so I feel like my generation was like honestly the guinea pigs for the internet and like the new age apps and stuff. And I'm sure a lot of other people have similar stories. I mean, I've heard a couple schmurder stories that came of the Kick Messenger app. But yeah, I have a flat spot on the back of my head from this incident, like as a reminder that it did happen, because that's like where the back of my head got split open when I fell and hit my head on the rock. Yeah, believe me or don't believe me, I know a lot of people don't really like the way that I convey my stories because I'm kind of humorous and or apathetic when I tell these stories. But honestly, that's because I've had years and years of therapy and trauma therapy, and I've been diagnosed with a lot of things. I'm on some medications, you know, okay? I journal about it. I've kind of worked through these things already. So I'm able to talk about it more, and what do you want me to fucking sit on here and cry? Anyways, thanks for listening, and please be careful, and please teach your kids about internet safety.